Hello everyone, my name is Jaime McDaniel and I am a Villa Ambassador based out of St. Louis, Missouri. And in fashion, we know that what was once old always comes back around to be new again, but we just put a little twist on it. Today we're picking up those round brushes and focusing our attention on the 90s bob, making a comeback known as the Baroque Bob. Now the Baroque Bob is not necessarily a haircut, it's more of a finish on a bob. Think your bobs are about anywhere from mid-neck to collarbone. The Baroque Bob is going to be super voluminous and moving away from the middle part and focusing our attention to that iconic 90s hair flip. Today I'll be working with Villa's Artist Series blow dryer with the ions off. Reason being is with the Baroque Bob, we want as much volume as possible. So with the ions off, it's going to give us the plumpness in the hair that we are looking for in the end finish. Next tool of choice is going to be our 1-inch Villa signature ceramic round brush. This is fantastic because the great thing about the ceramic is that it's going to heat up. So it's going to give us double heat. It's going to retain the heat from the blow dryer, and it's actually going to help create more of a bend within the hair, similar to what a curling iron can give us, but we get the benefits of the fullness from what a blow dryer can give us rather than the curling iron clamping it and sealing it and smoothing it all down. The other thing that I love about this brush is that the bristles will actually grip onto the hair and give us a smooth round brushing experience for the hair. And lastly, can you really do a blowout without Villa's no bend clips? These clips are fantastic because it has a rubber band in it that's going to act like a buffer for whenever you set your blowout, ending in a no crease result when you take them out of the hair. Here's my beautiful model, Lydia, that I'll be working with today. Now, this mannequin is a Pivot Point Villa collaboration, and her name is Lydia, and I have to say, she's fantastic. The hair density of her is amazing, and the hair texture is one of a kind as well. And if you have not tried Lydia out yet, I say do it. So I've already gone through and I've pre-sectioned and set some of Lydia's hair. So you'll see here, I've gone through and I've already preset Lydia in some areas. So in the nape here, I've gone through and I have round brushed and I'm just going to let it set as so. In the back, I've come through and I've round brushed with our 1-inch, and then I've clipped that hair into a round brush state, so like a curl, and I've clipped her away with the no bend clips. Now what you'll notice on the sides are, to keep this more modern, I'm not going to clip up the whole curl. I'm just going to clip up the sides so they stay nice and lifted. And then this way, whenever I let them go after they set, she's not necessarily going to curl right around her face, more as she's going to get that nice roundness and smoothness around the face, but it's not going to be matronly by curling too tight around her jawline and making her feel like there's too much fullness around the jawline. So before I set any of this, I wanted to go through and I wanted to prep the hair. So Lydia's hair feels like a beautiful silk blouse, really, whenever it comes out of the package. So once we rinsed her and we blow dried her, she still kind of felt nice and soft. She had some slip to her. But with voluminous hair, I want to change the texture of the hair so I can get that lightweight lift without it fighting gravity too much. So what I did to prep this hair after I blow dry it was, on dry hair, I went through and I liberally applied Redken's Root Lifter to the point where the hair was wet again. Now this can scare most people, but the great thing about applying it on dry hair is you're getting the full benefits of the root lift. So I took Lydia's hair from silky feeling to where she has this nice wool, let's say in between cotton and wool feeling. We want to lean more towards the wool feeling to get that nice voluminous anti-gravity hair for us. So when I come through and I section Lydia, I'm really going to start as wide as that round brush. Now with my fingers, they're going to be my sectioning tools. I want to keep this as organic as possible, and I'm just going to move my fingers up and down, up and down, up and down to give me a zigzag line. Now, why do I want a zigzag line back? It's a great question. With zigzags, it gives me more of a diffused finish. So if I were to come in here and create a hard straight line, when this would fall over in the end result, it could fall a little harder. And again, I want this to be nice and flowy and voluminous and flippy. So I really want to create those nice zigzag diffused lines in my end result. So once I have that section, I'm coming in with my Villa no bend clips, and I'm really going to clip out the hair that I will not be blow drying. This is going to help keep me nice and organized and clean. Next up, I'm going to create my actual width for my first section. And rule of thumb is what we've learned to be tried and true through and through is the size of the barrel is the size of your section. I'm just going to take about a 1-inch section to 1.5 inches to be honest. And moving the same way with my finger up and down, up and down, up and down to create a nice zigzag line. So before I blow dry this section, I'm going to come through and spray a little thermal spray 11 onto the hair. This is going to provide a little bit more slip and hold for whenever I am round brushing hair. I do like to come through and comb this product through with my Villa cutting comb for a nice even distribution. The first set in the mohawk section is finished, so I'm going to go ahead and continue on the mohawk section and set them all moving away from the face, and then I'll be back. All right, so we're back, and I have gone ahead and set the rest of the mohawk section. They're all moving away from the face, so we're getting all that volume on base. Now we're going to move to the side, and I've gone ahead and set this side for us. But we're going to go ahead and move to the side and we'll do the same thing. So I'm going to apply a thermal setting spray, top and bottom for extra slip, because if you think of it, the heat is touching here, but the heat is also touching on the ceramic round brush. Combing that through and elevating that so we can make sure that we get a nice voluminous onset. So as I come through to set this, I like to go ahead and rebrush it to make sure that all the hairs are moving in the same direction. I'm taking my 2 fingers and wrapping it around. And now I'm really just going to let those ends breathe and place my clip right against the scalp. My clip does not come on top of it because I don't want it to smush it. Now, if this were and I was doing this to my own hair, I would go ahead and set my hair and then start applying my makeup. And while I was applying my makeup, this would be cooling down. By the time I got done applying my makeup, this would be ready to be taken out and brushed through. In the salon, I'd probably give this a little bit like 5-10 minutes, depending on how much time you and your client have. If you're doing this for a wedding, I would go ahead and start and work on another bridesmaid or the bride or the mother of the bride and really let this set and lock in and completely cool down before I take it out and start working my hands, brush, any kind of tool through the hair. Let's go ahead and move her on over while they are cooling down. I'd love to talk about at this point hairspray. So let's talk about what we already have in the hair. We've already gone through and applied root lifter through the hair. I did it whenever it was wet and then one more time when it was dry to really alter the texture of the hair and give us a nice voluminous finish. Then before we round brush, I went through with the thermal spray and applied that to the hair. Once this is set, this is the time that a lot of people like to come through with any type of hairspray. If you're going to use a hairspray at this moment, I suggest using a very light hold hairspray like this one, brushable hairspray from Redken. However, One rule of thumb in hair is thermal bonds will always break down hydrogen bonds. So what does that mean? Hairsprays tend to be a little bit more on the wet side, a hydrogen bond, if you will. So if we go in and we apply layers upon layers upon layers of hairspray, say while this is set, and then once we take it down, we apply more hairspray, that wetness from the hairspray is breaking down the hydrogen bond that we just placed in the hair, and we're setting and letting it cool. So if you can, opt to do your hairspray either while it's set or skip while it's set and just give it a final spritz at the end. It's going to last all day. Sounds kind of silly and against what we've always thought about the more hairspray, the longer it's going to hold. But truthfully, the less wet we can get the hair, the longer that hair is going to hold. All right, so let's go ahead and start taking out Lydia's hair. All right, so now I'm going to come through with the wide tooth of my Sambia cutting comb and just start working through that hair. I'm going to start in the ends. And now once I got the ends brushed out, now I can come through the scalp area. I'm going to move it back and forth, back and forth. The reason why I want to move it back and forth is that then it'll truly get the movement that I'm looking for in the end result. I'm obsessed with this volume. Again, this hairstyle, the Baroque Bob, is not necessarily a haircut as it is a finish. So this haircut itself is a one length bob. And now here, I'm just going to go ahead and do the same. Comb out the mids and ends. And now let's move it towards the scalp. Start working it back and forth, back and forth. Look at all that beautiful volume that we get from the root lifter, the ceramic blow dryer, and that Artist Series blow dryer irons off. So now we can really truly, since this is set, it does not matter how much you comb through it because that's truly what's going to break it up. And we can move it around to see where do we like that hair to sit. Remember that 90s flip we were talking about? So now I'm just gonna come through with my hands and really start placing that hair where I want it. I'm gonna act like Lydia has an ear that we can tuck behind, and we're actually going to put a bobby pin there because I am a big fan of one ear tucked behind. So lastly, I'm just going to finish it off with my hairspray of choice. Here I'm using Control Addict 28 from Redken. Lifting the hair with my fingers. I really like the way that gives that nice big 90s flip. And even if you wanted to, you can come through with your Sambia wide tooth comb and lift and spritz as well. Just gonna open up her face a tad bit here. And there we have it. My version of the Baroque Bob. I would love to see your version and tag me on Instagram or TikTok at Jaime McD Hair. Thanks for joining me.